What's up, guys? It is Shin Regis, and today I will be showing you how to make a Halo meme machinima, or a machinima meme. A machinima meme. Now, as I'm sure a few of you have noticed, I have a few different ways of creating my content. Some of it's created in Gary's mod, and some of it is created in MCC. Today I will be showing you a video that's created purely from MCC, and perhaps sometime in the future I'll release a Gary's mod video. Alright, we're going to go ahead and we're going to choose our modded map for Halo 3. My favorite mods to use are the Campaign Forge mods, as it makes all kinds of vehicles, NPCs, props, a whole bunch of things that are at your disposal to make a meme. Okay, once we're loaded in, the first thing I like to do is to find a good spot to film my footage and act in, pretty much. I like to call it acting because, I'm still controlling the NPCs with the head bobbing and such. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Now, I usually hover over a bunch of different spots before I actually decide on one, but I do have a few favorites. It's usually wherever the lighting is the best, because if the sun's blocked or it's in a dark area, you can't really see the actors very well. So once you do this enough, you pretty much just learn where the best spots are. Now, I'm sure a bunch of you who regularly watch my videos recognize this beach area. This is one of my favorite spots to film because the lighting is good. They're not looking at a wall, they're actually looking at the ocean, and small details matter, so it wouldn't make sense for them to look at a wall, and it's just a great spot to film. Now, for this video, originally it was going to feature an idea where Master Chief gets onto the Prophet's chair and flies away going lol 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 lol, but it didn't really work out for the pacing, so I ended up cutting that. But a lot of things that I do in these videos, I don't always end up using. The process kind of changes as I go. You just kind of need to have an eye and an ear for these sort of things and know what will hit well with who's watching your video. Now here I'll show you an example of how to get an NPC to face a certain direction, because I can't control these NPCs. I spawn them in and they stand there and do a couple animations and look in all kinds of places. So in order to get these NPCs to look where I want them to look, I need to spawn an enemy in front of them and kill the enemy very quickly so they can stay looking in that direction. Also, to get them to look precisely where I want them to look once they're in that general direction, you can use a plasma pistol, which once they are shot with and kind of flinch, they face immediately in said direction. Alright, and now we're going to set up our scene. This scene is just a quick joke with Chief and RB. It's kind of like a Ligma joke. So I set up RB to stand in a certain direction and look in a certain direction, and then I set up my Master Chief to stand right next to him, and then that's when I start doing my head bobbing. The head bobbing process can take a very long time. I like to match my head bobs exactly with what they're saying. So when you watch like Red vs. Blue and they kind of do slower head bobs and it doesn't really go word for word with what they're saying, but for me, I like to have my own style to it. So the head bobs need to match the words. And some of you are probably asking, well, Shin, how do you match the timing exactly? Well, that's a good question, Mr. Asker. You go ahead and you put the sound recordings on your phone, and I play it from my phone separately as I'm controlling my player in-game. So when the sound plays on my phone, I match the bobs with the sound. What can make this process very lengthy is you can't exactly see what you're doing as you're acting out the scene. Once you go into theater mode, then you can see how good it looks. So a lot of times, more often than you think, I will record a whole scene, a whole bunch of head bobbing, all that fun stuff, go into theater mode and realize it looks like crap. For example, this scene right here, Master Chief and RB are way too far apart. Camera angles, how close they are, it all matters. They can't be too far apart because you have to take into account this is going to be put into a vertical format. So the further they are apart, the wider the vertical needs to be, and it does not look good on social media platforms like TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube Shorts. So if the footage is bad, I need to go ahead and start over, start with a new game, set up the characters, do the head bobbing, everything all over again, which is exactly what I did with this scene. As you can see here, I fixed the positioning. It may seem like a very subtle change to you, like not much was done, but it does make a big difference. Tiny details matter. The sloppier a video, the sloppier it will perform. I like to record different camera angles and positioning throughout the video to keep things fresh, because just one shot of each character throughout the video gets kind of boring. Now let's touch on what I mentioned before about the pacing being off. The issue with this video with the Prophet's chair was it took too long to set up that last joke. Master Chief lands the main joke. It's a Ligma kind of joke. I'll show it at the end of this video. And then when he ran away going lol 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 on the chair, it just took way too long. So, to a lot of the Halo fans and fans of my work, that's funny. That'd be a good addition to the video. But for most people who have no idea who the hell I am or don't even really engage with Halo, it's going to be bland and land flat. So you need to make a good balance between what you know would work with a large scale audience, both Halo and non-Halo fans, and also what you actually want to include the video and what you think is funny.
By the rings.
You see, I thought that was hilarious, and I'm sure a few of you too. Mind you, it wasn't complete. I wanted the lull to get more silent as he drove away, and the oh and the by the rings weren't meant to be in that scene yet. So the longer you do this, the more you kind of develop another sense or an instinct for what would work and what would not work. And everything from all my experience doing this, everything was screaming at me saying, too long, too long, too long, joke lands flat, joke lands flat. So unfortunately, I had to cut that part. But from what I replaced it with, I think you guys are going to get a pretty good laugh out of. If you stick around to the end of the video, I'll show you the complete machinima meme. Also, another thing I would like to mention is when you're working with static NPCs like this and you can't control their head bobs, their movements, where they're looking, a whole lot of it comes down to patience and luck. So in this scene, RB is actually staring at Master Chief when he talks, but when I was actually doing the acting, I had no idea if RB would be staring at me or not. So when I went back into theater mode and I saw, oh wow, that actually works really, really well, because RB's going to look away and say something as soon as Master Chief is done talking, which really, really goes well for the quality of the video, because it's a video game and their mouths don't move. So it's like, how believable do you really need it to be? But, as I keep saying, small details matter. Alright, so let's get into the editing process. I like to use DaVinci Resolve, number one, because it's free. That's the biggest thing. A lot of these editing softwares cost money, and this one, there is a paid version, but in the free version, you really have everything you need. So you go ahead and you take the video you recorded, and you dig through it, and you find the scenes that match the voices. So I need to look for the scene where Master Chief first says something and match it to the head bobbing. I like to film multiple variations of that, just so if one looks better than the other, I could use that then. And as you can see, it's in vertical format now, even though I filmed it in full screen. So taking back to what I said before about them being too far apart, now you can understand why that would be an issue. This is probably the most basic out of all the types of videos I make. It's just filmed on a scene, cut up, and exported. A lot of my Gary's Mod videos, or videos that take place outside of Halo, have multiple layers. So, especially for my Sons of Halo content, because the Sons of Halo are filmed in Halo 3 and then placed in a map from like Gary's Mod, which takes like a lot of green screening and editing placements, and I'll get into that for another video.
Did that come out of your Lil Johnson?
Now, I want to give a huge, gigantic, throbbing shout out to Gashnor. Gashnor is the creator of Cursed Halo 3, Cursed Halo Reach, Grunt's Apocalypse. I'm sure you've seen his stuff. He has created so many mods for me and brought so many ideas to life. He's the creator of the models for the Sons of Halo, and just a great guy overall. His mods are hilarious. If you enjoy my content, you'll definitely enjoy playing through his content. Just like imagine a Shin video that's actually playable. So definitely check him out on the Steam Workshop. Just look up Gashnor or Cursed Halo 3 and you'll find his stuff. You're also going to want to add some zooms and camera pans and such just to add more quality to your video. It's pretty easy just using keyframes to animate it. You start from one point, click the keyframe, you zoom in, and then boom, you have an animated video. Again, there are tutorials to go over how this kind of stuff works, but once you learn how to do it for the first time, it becomes clockwork. Now, once you go ahead and you match all your scenes with your voices and camera shots and all that fun stuff, I go ahead and I focus on the color grading. Halo 3 still holds up to this day for a 2007 game. It looks beautiful, but I think the colors are a bit washed out, so just with a little bit of editing magic, you can really make it pop more.
By the rings.
I just want to mention before I wrap everything up that I do have a store. It's called shinregis.com. You can check out the store, and I have shirts available for sale. On those shirts are some funny scenes from some of my videos. The last thing I do is make the subtitles. A lot of people watch these videos with the sound turned off, so I make sure to make them, appealing. I do not like the in-app generated subtitles. They often get a lot of words wrong, especially wart. And I also like to use my own fonts and color gradings. So, Master Chief gets his green, RP gets his hot pink, purple kind of stuff, Shipmaster gets light blue, and Johnson gets red. I also like to animate them in a typewriter kind of animation, so it's like as they speak, the words appear from side to side. And that wraps up how to make a Halo Machinima meme. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you learned something. If I did influence or encourage you to make your own, please send them over to me. You can message me through any of my socials, and I also have my email available on YouTube. And here is the finished video that I promised I would show you guys. Combat Evolved.
Have you seen the Odyssey?
The Odyssey?
Yeah.
Army, no! No, I haven't.
Well, you ought to see these nuts getting dragged across your face.
By the ring.
Help me!